Do Gemini men come back after the breakup with no contact? Gemini has gamophobia, a term which means marriage fear when translated literally. They will date, but they will stay emotionally distant throughout. If their romantic escapades fail, they almost always walk away, never to return. They retreat into their world and act as if nothing happened. Let's now talk about the Gemini's dating style. The Gemini man's commitment-phobic love style is not evil, it's just misunderstood. Their love is forged through adventure, intellectual activity, and humor. What it lacks is a romance. Compassion, romance, and emotions aren't their strong spots. They prefer their date nights to be jam-packed with action, but number 2 a.m. mushy-gushy conversations about their insecurities and past traumas. The childish Gemini man, or the Gemini man-child, wants to have some light-hearted fun with a girl. Going to see the latest hit comedy, a night out at an obscure restaurant that you've never heard of, and some good gossip is his idea of a good date. Gemini's detached dating style is also reflected by the environment that you'll be meeting them in. Crowds, double dates, and parties. They want to go to a house packed to the brim with a variety of faces that they know and introduce you to each of them. Their fear of intimacy and close connections extends deep into relationships. Gemini has a fascination with freedom. They often feel that they can only express how they feel when they are single, and that being in a relationship means that you have to behave a certain way for your partner, which Gemini men consider a deal breaker. Let's take a look at the Gemini during a breakup. When the fun is over, either because Gemini feels repressed or they've found someone better, they are gone quickly, like the wind. Usually, they end the relationship in the most passive way, ghosting. This is ironic. They don't know how to stop talking, and they love communication, but they don't talk or communicate with you when it's the most important. On the bright side, this isn't done out of hatred, it's just that Gemini men hate confrontation. Sometimes, if the Gemini man wants to speed up a breakup, they'll pull a little sleight of hand. They will make it seem like you were the one who wanted a breakup all along when the opposite is true. The technical term for this is gaslighting. It isn't ethical, and not many Gemini men do it, but some still do. Gemini doesn't feel bad about this either. As people who hate commitment and social butterflies, there's a good chance that your Gemini ex will gossip about with all their friends. They cope with traumatic situations by being humorous, so pretty soon their friends will know all of the wacky adventures Gemini had. Or, if the relationship ended on a really bad note, the Gemini will start roasting you behind your back. Before we discuss the 7 ways to get your Gemini man back, please hit the like button. 7 ways to get your Gemini man back. It's extremely unlikely you can get a Gemini back after the breakup is done. They are too flighty and fearful of deep connections to come back, even more so if the relationship was short. But it isn't impossible, especially if their other signs, for example, Moon, Venus, are sympathetic and believe in giving relationships a second chance. Number 1, stay in touch. Gemini love to communicate, and there's a good chance that there isn't too much resentment between you two. Gemini men are children at heart, and like children, they don't like being hateful. Number 2, no manipulation. This goes for anybody, regardless of their sign, but Gemini will quickly sniff out if you are gaslighting him or not, and that will permanently break the trust. Number 3, avoid being overbearing or controlling. Some signs can tolerate this more than others, but Gemini despises it. If you come off as controlling in the slightest, prepare to get ghosted again. Number 4, be open to social events. To get a Gemini man back, you will have to show that you're sociable. They don't want to date a lump on the log, they thrive in a state of constant action. Number 5, listen. Gemini men are complicated. They aren't mindless party animals, and they do have their internal struggles. So be sympathetic and lend them your attention. They don't seem emotional, but they are. Number 6, be open to change. When you attempt to bring Gemini men back, you will have to make some compromises. It is a good idea for you two to try to speak on equal terms and make some fair trade-offs. Most importantly, number 7, give him a lot of space. While some zodiac signs prefer a heart-stopping, pulse-pounding, head-over-heels brand of love, Gemini likes a strong but subtle form of love. So if you try to give it another go with him, make sure you give him a lot of space. Just because he doesn't write an elaborate love letter to you every morning doesn't mean he has no capacity for romance. He will be substantially more open to restarting the relationship if you promise this. Let's now talk about why is Gemini so scared of commitment. Finally, you may be asking why they are so fearful of commitment, and why they very rarely come back. Gemini is unpredictable, likes change, and is curious. This curiosity makes Gemini ask themselves, what if I dated her instead? What will happen if I commit too early? Will I regret this? What if I lose interest in this person after I commit? They always have a million thoughts like that buzzing in their head. A lot of it is born out of anxiety, not intent to cheat on you. Gemini is fearful that they will put themselves into a situation of staleness. One where life is rigid, unfree, stale, and begins to lack variety. Committing too early, fears Gemini, will put them into that situation. Last, and here is the most brutal truth, is that they are usually looking for casual relationships. They're the most afraid of the commitment of anyone. Last but not least, the real challenge with dating a Gemini is trying to entice them to turn their casual relationship into a serious one. Most of the time, you'll only get one shot, they very rarely come back. For more romantic advice videos, don't forget to subscribe to our channel.